Good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Sorry, I slept in today, if I'm being completely honest. Um, but I have so many random artworks that I don't need it. In your Procreate. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Today we're not even going to use Procreate. Today we're going to do Carle. So we're actually going to use paints and colors and crayons and paper. Thank you guys for being patient and waiting. So sorry, I was helping a friend move all the last couple of days and I totally slept through my alarms. But I'm ready to draw with you guys today and I have a lot of fun stuff for you to show you today. So let's get started. All right, so today, as you guys know, we're doing Carle. It's okay, Isabella, if you didn't get to finish your art from last class, you could always send it to me at any point. Hello, everybody else. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Ruth, if you're still there. Nice to see you. Is this your first time joining? If it is, welcome, welcome. What was the last class? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in just a second, Hadassah. And I have some new stuff, new things to show you guys that I kind of revamped and fixed some things. So for today's morning game plan, I like to start each class with kind of like what we're going to do for the entire class. Greek mythology, that's right, Isabella. And so for today, we're going to start off with the art review, and then we're going to do our quote of the day. Then we're going to go to morning mindfulness. Then we're going to do our first art topic that we're going to draw. Then we're going to do a karate break, and then we're going to do another art section. And for the karate break, we do that just because we want to move our body, we want to get loosened up, we want to keep relaxed and loose, so that way we can draw in a freestyle too, so that our drawings don't look like all stiff and kind of like constrained. And sometimes it helps because you sometimes get like tense or stressed when you're drawing for a long time. The karate kind of helps loosen you up and like relax you again. I know, I'm sorry you missed the Greek mythology. It was a lot of fun, but we didn't even scratch the surface of it, so I think we're going to have to do Greek mythology part 2. I also want to do all the other kinds of mythology. Like there's, I think, Egyptian, there's Roman, there's a bunch of other ones that I found on this really cool website that had just like listed them all. So we're definitely going to have to do another one of those too. Do you guys like any other mythologies in particular? Let me know in the comments. Then we're going to go over the morning mail after the last art session, and then I want to give you guys the challenge of the day, and then we say our goodbyes until next time. So, rediscovering Greek mythology. This is what we did last week. It was really fun. We did a manicore, which is over all the way on the end, and that's like with the face of a man, with the body of a lion, and the tail of a scorpion. And I picked like a picture of Hugh Jackman when he was like screaming for Wolverine, because it's pretty good. And then we also did nymphs, and you guys corrected me like I think the entire time because I kept on calling them fairies, but it was a lot of fun. And the nymphs are not fairies. I think they're as close. I've read that they're as close as you can get to like a fairy if you don't know anything about mythology. They're kind of like fairies, but not really. But yeah, basically, we took our houseplant that we have and we turned it into a fairy. I mean, a nymph. See, there we go again. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I really liked how that one came out too. And Nadia sent in an awesome, her awesome drawing. She did Zeus, or Poseidon, actually, not Zeus. We did some Greek logos because we wanted to draw like the Nike logo, but we didn't make our own. They're kind of like elves. Oh, like elves. Okay, gotcha. Thanks, Isabella. And Nadia, if you're online right now, I'm trying to see if I see your sister anywhere. If you're online, I'm curious, did you name your character Nestor? Is that what that is right there? Is your manicore's name Nestor? I love it. So funny. So good. And Really cool. And I love Poseidon's proportions. Those are so good. Poseidon's proportions, it's hard to say 10 times fast. All right. Now moving on. If you guys wanted to send in your own work, you can send it in by email, or you can send it in by posting it on Instagram and tagging me in it. Both work great. And then I'll see it and I'll share it on to the next episode. Our quote of the day comes from Mr. Eric Carle. If you don't know who he is, he did all these illustrations. His most famous book that he illustrated and wrote was The Very Hungry Caterpillar. And also I wanted to share with you guys this picture that I found, which is really cool because I know how much you all love drawing cats. So I figured it would be cool to check it out and see how he did that one. And that black and white one over there is him as a kid. He's holding like the life saver. Eric was born. Oh wow, that's awesome. That's a very cool stormtrooper. I want to see like that's the kind of stuff like I want to see that kind of costume and stuff. That sounds really cool. Eric was born in Syracuse, New York in 1929. But then he later moved to Germany when he was 6 years old, and then he pretty much was there until his young adult years. And he went to this prestigious art school, the Akademie der Bildenden Kunst, I think is how you say it. You guys could try to say it too. Some kind of German art school. And then in 1952, with only $40 in his pocket, he made his way back to New York because that's where he wanted to become like an artist, and he felt like that's where his like dreams could come true. And then he found a job. So when he arrived in New York, he got a job as a graphic designer at the New York Times. Before eventually his friend suggested that he do illustrations for a children's book, and he didn't start actually making children's books until his late 30s, which means that he was like getting close to 40 years old before he even started doing what he's like most famous and known for, which is kind of crazy. And I love hearing stories about that too, because a lot of artists that I hear, or a lot of people that I hear in general, they put a lot of pressure on themselves to be like, oh, do I figure out my style yet? Did I figure out what I wanted to do with my life yet, and everything? And he was in his late 30s before he even found out what his like calling was, if you will. So yeah, so you never know. And I don't think he would say that he wasted time, but doing the other things. I think it was all part of the journey. So for Eric, I wanted to, here we go. He inspired our morning mindfulness because as we take a moment to breathe, I want you guys to close your eyes and think about, oh wait, I didn't even read his quote. Okay. With many of my books, I attempt to bridge the gap between the home and school. And I thought this was perfect. I was like, when I read this, I was like, this is like exactly what we need right now, because this is literally what we're doing. We're combining home and school with virtually. And he goes, to me, home represents, or should represent, warmth, security, toys, holding hands, being held. School is a strange and new place for a child. Will it be a happy place? There are new people, a teacher, classmates. Will they be friendly? And so what he's talking about is how you're combining two very, very different things. And even if your home isn't like that, school is still, you don't know if that's going to be more of the toxic stuff that might be in your home. Is there a way to recover an artwork that you just deleted? Aiming the excellent and important artwork. Was it on Procreate? I don't Procreate. I don't know. Let me see if I can look that up really quick for you guys. Hold on. I would definitely not close out of the app. Let me see. It looks like it came up really quick. I'm going to try to do a quick Google search for you guys. Okay. My computer's going on this. Okay. Let's see. I'm just doing a Google search. Off the top of my head, I don't know though. I have lost some pieces that way, which is a huge bummer. Oh, the only way that you might be able to do it is if you did iPad backup, like on iTunes, like an Apple backup. If you have, I'm looking up example. You have saved a photo to your iPad. Yeah. Um, Unfortunately, I don't think you can unless you have it backed up. Uh, Wait, click the word program. Oh wow, example art. Well, example artwork. I mean, go for it. Try it out. Example artworks. I always thought meant just like the ones that it comes with when you first buy it. Um, you could try deleting one of the original artworks that's already in the app, and then try to do that restore example artworks and see if it restores both of them. Um, yeah. Unfortunately, that's one of the cons of working digitally is that you can lose stuff so quickly like that. Um, it says Star Gallery cover, but will not press that either. I know there's a way that I think if you save the picture as a Procreate file, and I know this works for Photoshop. I haven't tried it yet for Procreate, but if you save the picture as a Procreate file, not as a JPEG, but as like a Procreate file, you save that and then put it in Dropbox, and then in Dropbox you double click on it and it opens up in Procreate. That might work to do this really cool way that it'll like save backups of it, because Dropbox saves backups every like half hour automatically. So I used to do that with Photoshop, so that even if I forgot to save it in Photoshop or save the actual file, um, Dropbox would save a backup of that. So you could try that, but it won't help you recover anything you lost in the past. I'm sorry, Damien, that stinks. Um, yeah, that's like one of the not great parts about drawing digitally is that sometimes you could lose stuff like that you put a lot of work into, and it's just gone sometimes. Um, which is kind of what I was talking about. Yeah, with all the new things for our morning mindfulness. Like um, here I'll just read off of it too. Eric shares with us that he likes to be able to make some of the bumpy changes in life a little less scary with his books. One of those big changes can be going to school, doing online school totally, and all the new things that come from that. This year in particular, school seems to have changed a lot for some of us. Have there been any moments where you were nervous to try a new way of learning this year? Um, I would let him press start gallery recovery. It just said looking for lost of or corrupted artwork. I'm assuming that. Let me know, guys, if you feel comfortable in the comments. What's been like the scariest part, the thing that's made you most nervous about starting doing school online, not being able to see your friends and all that stuff. Just curious, out of curiosity, like what's got you guys most nervous? And maybe if we can, Mr. Rogers says, if it's mentionable, it's manageable. And so maybe if we can talk about it and open that up and see if you guys are all feeling the same thing, it could make us feel a little bit better. But as we move on to the next portion of class, nothing's changed because are you homeschooled? As we move on to the next portion of class, I invite you to understand that this is a safe space for all of us to learn and to try out new things without needing to worry about how it will come out. You've always been homeschooled. Interesting. Hadassah, I don't know if you knew, but I was homeschooled my whole life too, up until college, because you can't get homeschooled in college. But yeah, you've always been. Isabella, were you homeschooled for this? If you guys have been already, if you guys have been homeschooled, what kind of things can you share with the rest of the class that might help them cope if they're struggling with like not being able to see their friends every day? Or what do you guys do to make yeah, and maybe it's what do you do to separate the two, like to separate home time and school time, even though you're always at home? How do you separate like when you're working and when you're doing school? Let me know. Okay, so first we're going to start with coloring, and I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, let me see how this is going to look. I want to share with you guys. All right. So these are some of my art supplies, and these are my hands. This is kind of weird, trippy, seeing it right in the same. We're gonna create some textures, and I'm gonna obviously this time I'm not gonna draw myself. I'm gonna draw Slider, and we're gonna see how Slider looks in an Eric Carle style. So these are just some washable kids paints that I got. And what's cool is that you can even use this as like a palette to paint with if you want, or you can use a paper plate. And I got some brushes. These are it was a pack. It was like $9, I think, so pretty cheap. All right, so I'm gonna put this right here. Now, according to Eric Carle, there we go. I'm just checking to make sure the camera's good. Now, if you guys are wanting to follow along, just grab some colored paper, grab some scissors. We're gonna be using some glue. We're going to need some colors, so you can either use some paints like these, or see, I'm making sure. Yep, okay. You can use paints like Eric Carle does. He also uses some crayons. So if you don't have paints, or if you don't want to break those out right now, or if you want to save that part for later, you can. You can even use a colored pencil and color over it too. I'm going to use paints just because that's what he did. So let's check it out. So for Slider, this is how he starts it off. Also, he leaves a space at the bottom, like a little bar, so that he doesn't, so that he can move it around and not get paint on his fingers. I also taped these. There's a little piece of tape right there. We go at the top of these. There's a little piece of tape here and here, and this is on my drawing board, so that it's okay if I go over a little bit, and the paint helps, and the tape helps it not move. Okay. Let's perfect. I think for this one I'm going to use there we go, just like that. And my head is in the way, of course. I want to move this. Whoop, there we go. I'm moving over. Okay. Alright, and Slider's out and about walking around, so if you guys see, if we hear him, we can definitely bring him in. There we go. This is how Eric Carle does his paintings. He first starts off with some extra color on top of the page. Sometimes he'll draw some dots. Sometimes he'll use other mediums, other tools. Oh, there we go. And it's really cool. You can find the video of him drawing with Mr. Rogers online, which is really cool. Sometimes with not so expensive paintbrushes, the bristles, the pieces of hair or like the fake hair come out, and that's okay. You just don't want them on your artwork. Okay. think that's good for right there. Yes, you were homeschooled for 2 years and you miss it. Oh, what do you miss most about being homeschooled, Isabella? Okay. Let's see. Okay, and okay, so I'm gonna close this guy. Let's see. Put my paintbrush right here. That way it doesn't go in the water. I mean, in the page. Open up this new color. Fortunately, this stuff dries really fast, so I could put it on top. Otherwise, otherwise I would put it on someplace else where you guys couldn't see it, though. All right, let's see. And okay, now here's another technique that you can use. What Eric Carle does is he actually takes pieces of rug that he gets for free. You can get little squares of rug, like tester samples, at a rug store, and you can go into the store and get them for free. And you miss everything, Isabella. Aw. Well, are you basically homeschooled now? Are you back to it? But yeah, so he would go into the store and get some rug samples. I didn't go to the store to get rug samples because, you know, trying to be safe and everything, and not interact with as many people as they can. But I do have a paper towel, which I crumpled up into like a little ball, and now I can move it over here, and I could dab it like this, and then when I move this, there we go, I can create this little like speckled effect. Which is kind of cool. What I might even do is take a paintbrush and paint it on like that. Okay. Oh, like that. There we go. Right, no, still doing remote learning, but I do a lot of separate online classes. Gotcha. I think that seems to be where things are headed anyway, because a lot of people, you can learn a lot from these online classes. And then you can just learn what is interesting to you, which I think is helpful. All right, there we go. And we have one last page. This is brown paper right here. Let's see. Let's spin this around. Perfect. Okay. Okay. And I think this one will actually do some green in finally. So let's close this. We'll open up the green. And what I thought would be really cool, I wanted to try out. I'm going to use a new brush right now. We're going to use this guy. I'm going to take a little plastic cup. I'm going to paint the side, and we're going to kind of roll it on like this. Okay. Just trying out kind of new techniques. I feel like the circular pattern might look kind of cool. It might like kind of subtly remind you of like a turtle shell, which would be cool. Let's try it out. Yeah, I kind of like that. Oh, oops, I keep on bumping the camera. Oh, you were gone getting watercolors. Okay, so right now we're just creating textures on a page, And so you're trying to create textures however you can. So I did, here, I'll show you. I did, oh yeah, thank you, Isabel. Isabel, you are, I've been thinking about rewarding you guys for being such great helpers. I have a lot of art books that I want to share. Some that people have donated to me, some that I just got. And I'm getting it together so that I can maybe mail it out to you guys, and I'll like sanitize it and everything, make sure it's all clean. But some of you guys have been such a big help and have been so good about like sharing this with other people, and you've been posting stuff, and I wanted to show you my appreciation. And so is that something that you guys would be interested in? Would you guys want me to send you some art books, like as like a reward for being such awesome students in my class? You guys are literally like my star students. If we were in person, I would just be able to give them to you, but like I usually do with my students. But yeah. Anyway, just something I have in the works too. Okay, all right, and that I think is, oops. There we go. Now you guys can see it again. All right. There we go. Creating different textures with different parts. Yep, that's right. And now we have these 3 different textures. You can see 1, 2, 3. And sometimes what Mr. Rogers will even do is, which I think I might want to do, is he'll take another brush, kind of like, and I'll drag it over. I'm also doing this so that it dries faster so that we can do the next part of the class. There we go. Again, no wrong way to do this. It's just having fun. And yeah, so now we have these 3 different textures. You could also add dots on them. You can draw scribbles lines over them if you want. But for right now, I'm going to let these guys dry, and we're going to move on to the next portion of class. Okay. Here we go. Good. Alright, next portion of class is, if you don't know, we're going to do our karate break with Sensei Noah. Alright. Now, if you're still working on your textures, that's fine. See if you can at least get one, and then if you finish one, and then let it dry, and then we'll move on to the karate break. Today we're doing Sensei Says, I want to be honest, guys. There we go. This is what we want. Green screen fixing. Okay, cool. I'm going to be honest, guys. I think you guys have been leading me on to think that Sensei Says you stop with just the one attack, or with the one time that I don't say Sensei Says. But I was corrected by my cousins last weekend, and that really the way you're supposed to play Simon Says or Sensei Says is that I say some moves with Sensei Says and I say some moves without Sensei Says, and then and I just keep on going. I don't stop when I stop saying Sensei Says. So that's why they said that that's why I make it harder on myself to get you guys out. So without further ado, we're going to try it with this new style. So I'm going to say sensei says, and I'm going to say an attack or a kick or a block. But then I also might say just do the kick or the block, but then I'm going to keep on going. So you really have to listen this time. Okay, let's try it out. Here we go. Ready? Sensei says, I feel like I look kind of... There we go. That's better. Now you guys can see me. Some brighter light. Cool. All right. Sensei says... Okay, we're going to start with the kicks, which are right up there. Kicks. So we have front kick, back kick, side kick. Okay. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says side kick. Sensei says back kick. Sensei says, put your hands up. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says back kick. Sensei says side kick. Front kick. Okay. I'm going to keep on going this time. I'm even forgetting how I do it. Okay. Sensei says front kick. Back kick. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says side kick. Sensei says back kick. Sensei says side kick. Back kick. Front kick. Sensei says side kick. This is hard. All right. Let me try it again. If I didn't get you out yet, it's hard to also know when I'm gonna stop it now too. This is a whole new way of playing. So you get out still if you do the move without me saying sensei says. The same rule applies. But now because before I was doing it, I was doing sensei says this, sensei says that, sensei says that, and then I would just say back kick, and then you get out if you did the back kick. Now I'm going to say sensei says front kick, sensei says side kick, back kick, sensei says front kick, but if you did the back kick, then you'd be out because I didn't say sensei says before it. We got out the same way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'm just going to keep on going. Thank you, Isabella. Yes. I don't know if how I explained it made any sense. Here we go. Ready? Now we're going to add the blocks in, which are right. I swear, every time I point my finger, it's always the wrong side. Here we go. Now we're going to add the blocks to it, though, which are on right there. Perfect. Okay. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says cross block. Sensei says cross block. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says rising block. Sensei says down block. Sensei says parry. Sensei says parry. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says cross block. Sensei says cross block. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says side kick. Sensei says back kick. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says down block. Rising block. Middle block. Cross block. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says side kick. Back kick. Front kick. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says down block. Rising block. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says down block. Sensei says cross block. Sensei says parry. Sensei says down block. Middle block. Cross block. Alright. How did that go? Did I get anybody out with that? I feel like that's a lot harder for everybody. Okay, go ahead and make sure you're drinking water. We're going to do one last one. We're doing attacks right here. Also, we have 10 minutes left before it's 11 a.m., and that's usually when we end class. Can you guys stay a little bit later since I was late today? You did okay for the beginning that you were out? Okay, that is helping me, but I'm gonna need to simplify it a little bit more. If you guys can stay, great. If not, I'll skip to the morning mail just so you guys can see that and we can finish it later. That was so hard. Okay, let's do attacks. Ready? Sensei says straight punch. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says spear hand. Sensei says hammer fist. Sensei says heel palm. Sensei says heel palm. Sensei says back fist. Sensei says shuto. Sensei says shuto. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says straight punch. Sensei says vertical fist. Sensei says vertical fist. Sensei says let's see, ridge hand. Sensei says ridge hand. Sensei says middle block, cross block, middle block. Sensei says rising block. Sensei says straight punch. Sensei says front kick, side kick, back kick. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says down block. Sensei says shuto. Sensei says shuto. Sensei says front kick, parry, middle block, cross block. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says hammer fist. Sensei says hammer fist. Sensei says heel palm, spear hand. All right. Whoa, that's like so much harder for me to say too. So I'd be really impressed if you guys were actually still in by now. Let's go back. Oops, not this yet. Let's go back to right here. Sensei says. Let me know who I got out with that. Our next part, since our paper is now dry, let me show you. Still in, Isabella. Wow, I am genuinely impressed. Very nice job. All right. Let me know in the comments if you guys have to leave. You were on the last one, Hadassah. You guys have to leave, and we'll skip ahead. Oops. I almost spoiled the surprise. Okay, here we go. So, here are our pages. Let me take tape off. One, two, three. So now we have our 3 textures, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to put these right here, and this is my board that's safe to get to do artwork on because it's got so many scratches and stuff from when I've like cut things before. Okay. Now I have my monster bag right here. Watch what happens when you zipper them up. And I have all my fun things in here. So I have glue sticks. I'm going to need a glue stick, and I'm going to need a scissor right now. And I think that's it for right now. So we can keep them quiet. Let's start by cutting out Slider's shell. Okay, so. And again, I've never actually done this before, like this. So let's see what comes out. There we go. I feel like that looks like a shell. Okay. And I'm going to keep all the little pieces that I have because you never know when you might need it. Okay. How are you guys doing? You guys can go longer? Okay, great. We probably won't even need to go that much longer, just a little bit. Okay. Now for Slider, let's see. I think this would be really cool for his front arms because he has a lot of like, let's see if I can grab him. He has a lot of like spiky horns on his front arms. I found him. All right. Hey, buddy. Okay. Here's Slider. You guys see him? Look at those front arms. Look how spiky they are. And you see his shell? How it's got like all those that cool pattern on it. What's cool is that on this pattern, these little dots were there when he was a baby, and then every time he grows, they get more and more. They spiral out, or they create rings. And I think we're going to use that lighter one for this underside right here. Okay, so I'll let you go down now. So it's almost like when you see a tree you can have every time it grows. Let's see. Every time a tree grows, you can see the rings on through the trunk. Isabella says hi, Slider. He gave you a nod. I'm going to bend this a little bit because it's getting in the way. There we go. Alright, you see how it's looking like kind of like spikes? Like sliders. There we go. Alright, how you doing, Slider? Oh, that looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll make these fingers look a little bit more. Or you know what? Look at it. We have another piece of paper that I could put this on. Oops, I grabbed 2. Or actually, Carle always does it on white paper. I'm going to do it on white paper. Okay, here we go. So now some nice clean white paper. I think I like it actually on top. Okay, let me draw one little back leg for him, or draw, cut out. There we go. Voila. Alright, how's it looking, guys? And what's cool with Eric Carle is that he actually draws on top of his cutouts later. So that's on a later step, which we're going to do. Okay, here we go. Now we need to do the underside of his belly. Oh, and I need to do his head too. Don't let me forget his head, guys. Come on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this part out. So I'm using the shell as kind of like a reference. Okay. Before we glue anything on, I'm going to make sure I figure it all out first, where everything's going to go. Like that. I kind of like how that looks. I think we'll just need to tape it on. Let me do one last one, and I think for the part that's not totally clean, I'm going to use that for the head too. Okay, so let's do it. Check this out. Ready? Oh, scissors are stuck on my fingers. Okay. Just like that. Oh, that kind of looks like Slider. Slider looks just like you. All right. How are you guys doing with yours? If you're still working on the textures, that's totally fine too. I think it's time for us to glue. Okay, so let's glue this down. So I think I'm going to start with, this will be last, and these pieces. So let's glue this guy right here. And what's cool with this purple is that this purple glue is that after it sticks, it turns clear. So don't worry, it's not going to make my whole picture look purple. So we put this guy right here. I want this leg right here. I'm gonna, glue this other part down. like that. And now we're going to glue the last part, his head. There we go. All right, almost done. Just going to add glue to the last part of this. I'm being careful now to not go over the edge if I can, just so that I don't get glue on the white paper. I think that's good enough. All right, the moment of truth. We're putting on the shell. Here we go. Oh, don't move camera. All right. Ooh, I like it. Okay. Now, I have one other bag too, which I'll show you right here. It's a shark. Check it out. He can open his mouth. Oops. There we go. It's a shark bag. Which I like. I like things that are fun and when they can be. So here we go. So we open up the top part of his mouth. I have a bunch of different crayons, or like colored pencils that we can use. So for this one, let's see, I'm going to use this dark one. I think maybe like a yellowish gold one too. Let's see if that works for his claws. Maybe do I have this dark one for maybe some dirt? Let's see. So we can draw his eye. Actually, what we can do too, draw a little shine in his eye too. Didn't really come out that strong. Okay, there we go. I'm going to make him smiling because Slider smiles in my eyes, even though he always looks grumpy to a lot of people. Okay, let's draw his long nails that he accidentally scratches me with. And his little baby nails over here. Oops. 1 second, guys. Let me just turn on this light. There we go. Okay, it's back on. All right. We could even do a couple like scribbles for like the dirt chips that he's always kicking up. Also, we could just have made these, cut these out of the wood if we were going to make another there we go. And last but not least, you got to sign it. Okay. There we go. And now we made our own little Eric Carle piece. All right. Back to our regular episode. I'm so excited to see how you guys, how your guys' ones came out. Whoa, I'm so big. There we go. That's much better. Okay. For our morning mail, we got an awesome drawing from Nadia. Nadia, I think this might have been the first or second time I've seen your work. So I'm very excited to share it, to share more of it, and to see what else you're up to. Nadia sent me an email that said, this is the amazing artist behind these genius drawings, and I love it that you have a drawing a drawing buddy. Thank you, Hadassah. You're so sweet. Um, and yeah, so Nadia has a drawing buddy that draws some extra some muscles and some people holding flowers and a weird baby. What kind of baby is that? Anyway, my favorite one was that Nadia drew is right here. Can you recognize this like handsome fellow? I love it, Nadia. This is so funny. I laughed so hard when I saw this. Thank you for so much for drawing a picture of me. I'm honored. Although I don't look too happy in it. Do I always look that meh? But I love it. It's really funny. And for the challenge of the day, I want you guys to create your pet or favorite animal if you don't have a pet in the style of Eric Carle. So it's called a collage. But he also mixes different like techniques because he's painting over things too. So definitely a collage style. Yeah, it can be really fun. It sometimes is nice to just cut out things and see different shapes in different ways like that, where you wouldn't normally get to. Yeah, last couple things to remember: to thumbs up and subscribe this video. It really means a lot to me when you do that. You could also donate. There's a link in the description. You can comment below what other topics you guys would like to draw. And you can send your drawings to noahfontana@gmail.com so that I can see them. Or you can follow me on Instagram and keep up to date with any of the new stuff that I talk about. Next episode, or next week, is going to be a pet day. So I want you guys to send to do the homework or the challenge so that you guys can so that I can see all your pets. Send me pictures of your pets, tagging them on Instagram or something like that if you already have pictures of them up, or email them to me. And we're going to do a whole pet day. And I'm going to have Slider on camera the entire time. I think I can figure that one out. And it'll be a lot of fun. So it'll be a full pet day. We're going to just draw our pets and have fun doing that and drawing them in different styles. So without further ado, I will see you guys next Saturday, 10 a.m., and I will make sure to go to sleep super early next time so that you guys don't have to wait. I appreciate you guys for waiting. I hope that this was fun for you guys today, and I will see you next time.